This is an audio-visual experience like you have never used before, so please take the time to learn with us. Welcome to the main hub. You will be brought to many different sites throughout this experience, but you will always come back here once you have finished with that site. This is your timeline. Follow it to see which link to click on to continue with your experience. Each link is paired to complement our story. That is our sound cue. Whenever you hear that sound, that means that you may return to the hub and continue on to the next link. But no rush. Once that sound plays, you have as much time as you wish to use that site before returning to us and continuing on. Today, we are here to talk about your life. So let's move on to this first link and see where it brings us.
Everybody knows about stress. Work, school, money, living. All things that might be perpetuating our levels of stress. You might manage your stresses better than others, or you may be a part of the 33% that feel like they're living under extreme amounts of stress. This can affect our productivity or success at work, your health, and your happiness. Some stresses can be good. It can push us to work harder and take action in our lives, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about the loss of sleep, poor performance at work, lashing out at others. These are all things that happen and we know when we see it. But do you think that you fall into this category?
Come on back whenever you're ready.
People carry stress home with them. From work, you always have the day on your shoulders and tomorrow to think about. As a student, you don't even get to get away from that work. Once you leave class, you're still working, thinking about that project, start working on that essay, planning that group meeting. And if you don't do these things, you know that your time is running out and the stress builds.
Follow this next link whenever you're ready.
Do you think that you have a hobby or pastime? What do you get out of it? Why'd you start? You might not even think about it if you do, or you might not even be aware of it if you don't. What makes a hobby a hobby? Hobbies do not include that thing that just take up your time. Escapism can be mistaken as a hobby, and that's not what we're here to talk about. A hobby is there to allow you to learn, makes you think, takes your mind away from the everyday life and to fixate on the moment. That is what you should be striving for, that moment of flow when you aren't thinking about work or worrying about school. Your full concentration is in front of you. This is where all the other benefits come in. Depending on what you choose to do, you may find different perks. Something like a glee club will be more social. Hiking or biking will get you into nature and give you a workout. Gardening is a known stress reliever, and soil is even shown to have the same components and benefits of antidepressants. But the importance of which hobby is not actually that important. What is important is why. Why did you choose that hobby?
Come on back whenever you're ready and see what's next. Careful with this one. You may need to adjust the video volume from the link so you can still hear us.
Why do people choose that hobby? The answer is because they want to. You're not forced to progress or perform like you would be for work or school. Your hobby is your hobby, and the reason why you're doing it is because, well, you want to. Now, this doesn't mean it'll be easy. When you see somebody performing or displaying their amazing work, it does not come to them right away. One more of the benefits of a good hobby is that it is hard. You will fail at the beginning, but you'll see the potential, start to understand the community, set goals, learn about techniques, meet people who share the same interests. You'll begin to learn if you stick with it, but you stick with it because you want to. You aren't motivated by a promotion or your grades or money, you just simply want to. And that's what makes hobbies so good for us. It's the outlet that separates us from our stresses and actually makes us a happier, better person.
Come back to the hub whenever you are finished with the video. You don't need the audio from this link, so be sure to mute it once it's open.
There are so many hobbies to try out, and everyone should try and find the best suited for them. But it's important to find something that actually benefits you and doesn't simply just take up your time. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is an excellent example of a great hobby and pastime. Beyond being the most effective martial art on the ground, it is extremely technical and geared to make you think. Even the word Jiu-Jitsu means gentle art. It was created so that the technique could beat power and strength on the ground. But it can be so much more than just a self-defense hobby for those looking to get into it. The progression in the sport is never ending. From the day you step on the mat, you'll be learning and improving with the community and instructor supporting you. Here's UFC commentator Joe Rogan talking with British film director Guy Ritchie about Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, there's some guys in our gym in London, in Rogers Place, that they're there 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. They mean it. And within 6 months, they're a proper pain in the ass.
Yeah. Well, once you become obsessed with the movements and you start studying the various positions and the possibilities, it becomes a part of your life. It becomes a part of your, almost like your operating system. And as you see these guys reinforce that operating system, you see their game becoming more and more complex, and to be able to chain attack after attack and being able to anticipate the defenses of those attacks and plan 2 and 3 steps ahead, and you see all this play out. It's an amazing. I really, really enjoy watching someone go from being a beginning student to being a killer. It's a fascinating process because you're literally watching someone develop their comprehension of a language of fighting. And that language of fighting is analogous to life. It helps them in every single aspect of their life because it's one of the most difficult things that a person will do in their day. I mean, you walk into a jiu-jitsu school, you park your car, you live in this normal realm of normal people with normal problems and bills and stresses and issues. But once you go into that thing, you put on that gi or no gi or whatever you're doing, and you go into that class, once you engage in these sparring sessions with skilled practitioners, you're doing one of the most difficult things any person within a 100-mile radius of you that's not fighting for their life is doing. And by doing that on a regular basis and constantly reinforcing this language, it enhances all your possibilities and your potential possibilities as a person.
Both Joe and Guy are black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and are true testaments to the difficulty and dedication of progressing in the sport. Everybody knows about the belts in martial arts: white, blue, purple, brown, black, with some exceptions in between. But Jiu-Jitsu is known as one of the hardest sports to get your black belt in. Joe himself was training as a brown belt for 8 years of his life before being promoted to black belt. That amount of dedication has an enormous amount of gratification from achieving something like that. And this is true when you graduate from white to blue or blue to purple and so on. And along the way to these milestones, you are getting an amazing benefit of an active pastime. You're staying in shape, getting out and being social, and most importantly, focusing on something in your life that isn't the stress looming over you.
Last one. No video or infographic this time. It's your turn to do something.
Although we have gone over many physically active hobbies, it doesn't have to be. There's a hobby out there that is perfectly suited just for you. Go through this quiz and see if you agree with what it suggests. And if it's not quite right, then it's all up to you. Go out and find what does.